And it's not showing anything yet. Daniel Eduardo's got the fire emoji.
Got the fire emoji.
He just posted that on YouTube.
That is a positive. Fire means good.
Hey!
We're on.
There we are.
I can't see myself yet on the thing. I just heard my voice though. What's the video?
Yeah, we should. If you have the YouTube up, you should definitely mute that. So welcome to Higher Life session number 5. If you are just joining now, welcome. If you're watching this in a few months' time, also welcome. But where were you when we were doing it live? And session number 5 is entitled Relationships. I'll introduce myself. I am Jacob. I play guitar for a band called Brightline. So if you're watching on the Brightline channel, then what's up? If you're not, then go and follow Brightline Band. We've got some cool music, if I do say so myself.
Don't do it.
If I do. So why don't we go around and introduce ourselves, starting with Clay.
Cool. I'm Clarissa. I am part of the band Amongst Wolves, and I play bass guitar in it. We're a pop rock band. Yes.
Amazing. John?
Nice one. My name's John. I'm a singer and rapper, part of the band Soulbox. Yeah, you might like it. I don't know. We'll see. Go and check it out and you'll find out. But I tell you what, put in the comments if you've not seen this before. Go listen, come back, and then say if you like it or not.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yes, and I'm James, 1/3 of OTC, so rapper, singer, producer as well. So yeah.
Amazing. Yo, shout out to Darlene and Jaden. What's up? Good to have you here. If you see that anyone's missing, then make sure you text a friend because you don't want to miss out what we are doing today. The format's just changed on YouTube. So now you can see all 4 of us at once. I like that.
Very exciting.
So like I said before, this week we're talking about relationships. Last week we looked at the way it changes, the way we see ourselves, the way that we see other people. God is asking us to build healthy relationships with our families, with our friends, with our teachers, with everybody that we meet, and sometimes it's hard work, especially when I first met John, super hard work. But
likewise. Actually, no, you were a delight.
Thank you. But it's part of being a Christian, relationships is such a crucial thing because part of being a Christian is, having a relationship with God. That's like the core thing. So let me just throw out a question to all of us here. Do you think that relationships, right, with the people around you have changed since you've met Jesus?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Cool.
I remember when I became a Christian. So when I became a Christian, I was involved in some lifestyle stuff that I really shouldn't have been involved in. I was a bit of a naughty boy. And basically what happened was when I became a Christian, it affected everything. It affected every area of my life, partly because your priorities change. What you see in relationships and what you value in relationships and what you want to get out of them changes. So instead of my priority being, I don't know, money in certain areas or even things like sex in certain areas or this or that all totally changed to my priority in every relationship being my relationship with God above all and how I honor God through that relationship. So I had to cut off all my mates. All my mates were kind of like drug dealers and involved in that kind of thing, and I had to cut all them off.
Was that like really hard to do, or was it just like, I'm doing this, end of story?
Yeah, man. It was horrible. It was like every friend that I had, because I was involved in that lifestyle. It was like every one of my relationships. I moved cities. I moved to London when I became a Christian because I needed a new start because I saw no way of getting out of the lifestyle I was in. And those relationships weren't good for me. So I had to kind of, get away from those people. Broke up with my girlfriend because our relationship didn't prioritize God, and it wasn't, I would say, godly. That was a weird one. And then just different stuff like that. It affected like how I acted with my parents because they're not Christian. It affected how I, acted with my family because they weren't Christian. And my brother helped me become a Christian. So then they thought we were weird. They thought we were being like indoctrinated, or I was part of a cult or some kind of weird thing. I don't quite know what they thought, but it was a bit mad. So it changed all my relationships. This one thing that is so significant in my life. Anybody?
So we'll jump on a couple other people, but real quick. So why was it so important to cut some of those relationships once you became a Christian?
It was because I wasn't in a position to pursue my relationship with God. I wasn't in the correct position because those people, it would have weighed me down and become way too difficult to be able to be in those relationships. That's not me saying that. So I became a Christian, and I believe when you become a Christian, there needs to be some very, very obvious lifestyle changes, because you believe then what the calling on your life is and what the Bible says, and as a guidance in a way to live. But if I'd have had all those social circles, it would have been incredibly difficult for me to continue with that. Also, I was probably literally going to end up being in harm's way, because a lifestyle change like that, people would have wanted to hurt me. So I guess that's just that.
For sure, man. Yeah. James, do you want to jump on any of that? How have relationships changed with you since meeting Jesus?
I mean, a bit similar to John. It's like, I grew up originally in Africa, then I moved to the UK 18 years ago, and understanding where I came from, it was a bit like a tough, area back in Africa. So I didn't understand, what it's like to be a son. So even when I was put in a foster home, I don't know how to behave because I grew up like rough, my, parent not really caring. And now I have a loving family that actually cared for me. Like, I remember one time, this is one of the things that really changed my life before I even became a Christian. There was a lady, I was like in a foster home, but it was semi-independent way because I was like 16 and a half years old. So we had like a carer who basically just looked after the house. But this lady was a Christian. And I was naughty. I was really, really bad. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to be loved and to be cared for. I just thought I'm a man, I can do my own things. And I remember her telling me this one time, because I used to like really stress her out. She told me this thing I will never forget up to this day. She said to me, it's like, I don't care what you do. Like, I am always going to love you. Even if you got locked up in a prison, I am still going to love you. That really broke the ice in my heart to realize that, wow, this person has made a decision to love me, respect me, and treat me the way that I am, the way I deserve, which I didn't even think of. I didn't even know my value. I didn't know my worth. She saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Now, how does this reflect to other people? I started changing the way I live, the way I communicate, because now I have someone that I look up to that actually love me, respect me, and treat me with a high esteem. So then my value went up. So when certain people talk to me certain way, I'm like, yo, don't talk to me like that, because I end up becoming a bit more conscious of who I am, you know what I mean? So when I became a Christian, I'm able to understand that, you know what I mean, relationship is not just about feeling and, give and take. The most important part in relationship is, number one, is love. The second part is trust. The third part is communication. Without those, for me personally, my journey and experience, without these three things, love, trust, and communication, it's hard to get a strong or even a decent relationship, because you won't want to be friends with someone that you don't trust. You don't want to be, connected to somebody that you don't really respect that much, because you want that person to respect you so that you can respect yourself. For me, when I became a Christian, when I read, the Bible, there's a book in the Bible that's called Corinthians 13, where that talks about love. And when I read that, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is what love is about. Because when you understand what love is about, you're able to understand what relationship in any form, whether it's friendship, whether it's family, whether it's romantic, whether it's just, in business or in work or in school, okay, wow, I'm valued. The fact that I'm valued and I'm respected and I know that I have worth, that means I'm going to do the same to my brother, which means I'm going to love him, trust him, and give him a chance even when he makes mistakes, because I, as a Christian, I believe that God has given me chance when I make mistakes, and now I have to replicate that that love or that that trust that God has put on me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's jump in a little bit just on what do you think that means for romantic relationships? Becoming a Christian, what does that mean for romantic relationships?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a youth, I didn't know what relationship what the value of relationship or the importance of relationship. So I thought, you know, I mean, it was obviously being a young person, I thought it was just, you know, the crazy part, going out on a date and doing all this kind of stuff and maybe doing certain things that we shouldn't be doing. I thought that was relationship, but then I realized that actually it's deeper than that. I need to like respect this person, I need to like love this person, I need to look out for this person, I need to put this person first and then put myself second, which is hard because in a relationship we tend to put ourselves first and then put anything and anyone else second. And when you put anyone else second, you're going to treat them based on the position that you've put them. If you put someone number one, you're definitely going to treat them better because they are like number one in your life. But if you put them 3 or 4 or 5 down the line, you're not going to care. So for me, I'm able to understand that, for like a romantic relationship now, as a Christian, one, I know that, for example, jumping in one and in and out of relationship, one, it doesn't look good on me. 2, it doesn't show that I respect the person that I'm with. Or not that I love the person that I'm with, because if you love the person that you're with, number one thing, respect them regardless. You understand? So for me, being a Christian, I'm able to understand that love is so important in any relationship, not just in a romantic or friendly way, but in any relationship. If you genuinely love that person, then there comes the trust, then there comes the communication. Because if you don't communicate with that person, you won't know them, or they won't know you, vice versa.
Yeah, that's good. Anyone else want to jump on that?
Yeah, totally. What James was saying was awesome. I think for me, a massive part of it is choosing to serve the other person. I think God does that for us so well. The Bible talks about it a lot when Jesus came down to earth, that actually Jesus came to serve us. I was reading the other day about there's a Bible story that Jesus starts washing the feet of his disciples, of his friends that followed him. And like at the time, that was what the servants would do, the lowest would do for people with status. And yet Jesus, who the disciples called their rabbi, their teacher, and their Lord and Savior, he was doing that for them, and he was like serving in the most incredible way. And I think that's how Jesus wants us to serve other people. Not necessarily washing each other's feet, because that's kind of disgusting, but serving one another, friends and family, and your spouse as well. Always being there to go lower than what you think your status is. And just loving someone by serving them. So yeah.
That's so good.
I think something that I've really struggled with this whole idea of God and relationships, which I still struggle with now and I haven't really gotten right, is this idea of like, you're supposed to prioritize God in a relationship, but then at the same time, you're supposed to put your partner or your wife or I'm not married, but then you're also like supposed to put them first. That's just is a really hard dynamic that I've definitely gotten wrong before. Do you know what I mean? That idea of you've got to put God first, but then also you've got to put your partner first.
Yeah.
It's a hard one that I've never really understood. I'd like it if one of you guys.
I can elaborate on that. Like when I just became a Christian, like that's one thing when I like stumbled across, I found really difficult. I'm like where Jesus was speaking in the Bible, saying like, if you love, your mother or your father or your son or your daughter more than me, then you're not worthy of me. I was like,
that's so deep, bro.
I'm like, I love my daughter. Like, I would do anything for my daughter. But then when I kept reading, I understand that even though I love my daughter so much, there is so many things that I can't do for my daughter. Only Jesus can do that. There's so many things that, the fact that she's in my life, she's a gift from him. You understand? So who am I to say that I can love her better than the one that actually created her? The one that actually made her fearfully and wonderfully. Yeah. When I was able to understand that, I'm able to like sit back. I can see, cool. I can see why. Because when it comes to protection, God is one that's protecting her more than me. I can be there physically, but I can't be there when, I can't be there physically 24/7. You understand? But God is with her 24/7. That's what I believe. You understand? So I'm able to understand, wow, like, okay, my priority has changed. I'm same like John, I'm not married yet, but when I do get married, my order is not going to change. My order is definitely God, like Jesus, number one. My wife will become number 2. My daughter will become number 3. The reason why my daughter or my son will become number 3 is because when I'm going to train them so that they get older, so they can be independent, so that they can get married, and then they can have their own orders. So when they move out, what I'm going to have is God and my wife. My daughter will have, his own life. His or her own life to like, to live where I know for sure like God will be number one in her life, and then she will have, you know, her partner, you know, as the most important person in her life as well, because of the way that she has seen my life, you know, as a father, that, I mean, God is number one in my life. My wife will become number two. My daughter or my son will be number three. And I think I'm able to understand that because of, what I can do and what God can do, because God can do far greater than I can do, even though I love my mom and I love my daughter so much, that it's only so much things I can do. Like I can't prevent them from, Lord forbid, from any illness, but God can. I can't heal them from certain situation, but God can restore and heal them. You understand? So that's why I give him all the glory and I put him number one.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Does that make any sense to you, John? If you don't,
Sorry, mate.
I said, does that make sense to you now? What I just said.
Yeah.
Regarding all this,
So I think a big thing is, you know, is what we always come back to in our faith is the Mark 12:30. Love God with all your heart, with all your mind, all, you know, with everything you have, and then love your neighbor as yourself. Who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is not just the person who lives. If you live at number 11, it's not the person who lives next door to you. It's literally anybody who's around you. And like, how crazy is that? That literally we're supposed to love everybody around us, and that's so that obviously needs to feed into our relationships. Every single, you know, person that we meet, every single relationship that we have, whether they're your best friend or whether they're just that person who sits in the corner of the classroom that you know their name but you never speak to them. We're supposed to love our neighbor. We're supposed to love them. How do we continue to put them first? Do we continue to treat them with kindness, treat them with respect, the people around us? So let's jump on to, you know, the most important relationship in our lives that we've been talking about, you know, God. Like what does your relationship with God mean to you, you know, from a perspective of now, but also what does it mean to you that now that you have a relationship, because once upon a time in your life you didn't have a relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I'll step in if from that for a second. Basically, I've understand like the importance of relationship, because before I came to Christ, before I became a Christian, I was living a crazy life. By the time I was like 19 years old, I've had a child already. I wasn't even myself. I was not even matured enough at the time. And by the time I'm 24, I've got like 2 kids. You understand? Because of I did not understand what relationship was really about, because I thought relationship is literally just being together and doing whatever you want without any other or organization. But when I came to Christ, I understand, wow, the importance of relationship, the importance of like loving and caring. It's not just about, you know, having a child there, but it's like loving and caring and providing and protecting. And then when I look at how, for me personally, how God has protected me, has provided for me, I'm like able to like, wow, I need to slow down and listen to his words. Because if Jesus said, if you love me, do as I've asked you to do. He didn't say that to like control me. He says that to protect me, because without him, I was doing whatever I want and I was ending up in trouble. So when I came to him and I started listening, I started following him, I'm like, wow, I can see. And not only me can see, people who don't even know that I'm a Christian, they can see something different. Like, oh, bro, like, you're not the same person 2 years ago. What's going on? That lead them to me explaining to them, like, for me, I said, listen, I've been down that road. I've made my mistakes, and I believe that Jesus is the one that has restored me and given me a chance. Of that relationship that I have with Jesus, you know what I mean? I have that Father that will never leave me, never forsake me. He will never disown me. He will always love me. Once I understand that, I'm able to pass that same love that I've received from Jesus to my daughter, to my neighbors, to my brothers, to my sisters, to my family. You understand? Because of the love and the relationship that I have comes from a good place. Because you can only duplicate what you have. You can't give what you don't have. You understand? So I'm able to understand basically that from a Christian point of view now, the importance and the quality of a relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the other two guys? What does a relationship with God mean to you guys?
Go on, Clarissa.
It's interesting because I feel like a lot of people see God as like this man in the sky, and he just tells you commands, and you have to, you know, rules, and you have to do it, and it's like, you know, he decides your fate and all this kind of stuff. And actually, when like growing up and understanding actually what it means to have a relationship with God, it was just this incredible journey of figuring out that, I mean, similar to what James was saying, of this kind of father-like relationship, but not necessarily like a father on earth, because dad on earth can be very imperfect. But actually, God shows, God is the ultimate Father. He shows this incredible love and care for me, and He wants to be in communication with me. He wants to, he wants me to get to know Him more and more. And so practically, that looked like getting to know Him in terms of praying with God, reading the Bible, and being with other Christians and talking about faith like now. And I think, spending time alone with God has been an incredible way of growing that relationship and understanding more and more who God is, and understanding this God that cares for me so deeply and is always with me, like constantly wanting the best for me, constantly guiding me, helping me through life. So it's an incredible thing to actually think about having a relationship with God, and it's like nothing else I can compare it to. Yeah,
100%. It's so good. And I think that's why we're doing these higher life sessions, is because we want you who's watching, this is an opportunity for you to be able to build your relationship with God. And John, if there's people who stumble across this video, people are watching right now who don't have a relationship with God, how can they do that?
The way they can do that, I mean, it's a funny one. People always feel like it's this gigantic, huge step, but it's simply just inviting God into your life and saying sorry for the wrong stuff we've done. We believe right at the beginning, like the world was made perfect and amazing. In fact, when God made the world, He says the very last thing He made was us, right? And He said that He looked at us and basically went, "Well, that is brilliant. Look at that. I love the look at that." I mean, despite the fact we look at us, our four faces on here, I wouldn't say that God does. And we're like the apple of His eye, right? It says He created everything, which means you look at the stars and that, which is what we get amazed at. And then the thing that He's most amazed with is us. And He made us to be in relationship with Him. But God is loads of things. God is life. God is love. Just to name two things that God is. But what ended up happening was humanity basically rebelled against God, went against God. God basically gave us a format to live our lives. And we kind of rebelled against that. We stuck our middle finger up and said, God, we're going to do our own thing. And then what happens when you go against life and love? What's the opposite of life, everybody?
Oh,
death.
What's the opposite of love, everybody?
Hate.
It's weird not doing it. But those things came into the world, and we separated with that relationship with God, and we could no longer get it anymore, because God is life and love and all these things that is perfection and beauty and insanely amazingness, which is what I've just decided to call it. And we were out of that relationship with Him, but God wasn't happy with that. God loves us so much, right? So we believe God came down to earth in the form of a man, and He created the most incredible rescue plan to get us back in that relationship with God again. Came down to earth in the form of a man, which name is Jesus. And we believe He did nothing wrong. That's significant because He got killed, right? People around Him killed Him. And He didn't deserve that punishment. Actually, for the wrong stuff we get, wrong stuff we do, we deserve death. Jesus, when He was on earth, didn't deserve that death, but He died, which was significant. 3 days later, He came back to life again. That was significant because He took the wrong stuff we've done upon that cross. 3 days later, came back to life, conquered over that, so that now if any one of us want to, we can gain that relationship with God again. And all we need to do is simply say, God, my boy, my dad, up in heaven, I am sorry for the wrong stuff I've done. I've messed up. I've done that when I was in a room by myself when I was like 17, 18 years old, and I've never looked back. I said, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the wrong stuff I've done. I believe then you are forgiven of that wrong stuff, and that relationship that was broken, that we fell out of all the way back at the beginning, we get to now have access to that relationship again. So if you want to try and start that relationship with God for the first time today, all you need to do is, if you're watching this, go, God, I'm sorry for that wrong stuff I've done. I'm messed up, and I want to follow the plan you've got for me. And I believe God will speak to you. I believe you can start getting involved in that plan that God's got for you today. And one way of doing it is coming to these kind of things, getting linked in with your local churches, or just simply reading your Bible or chatting to God. And chatting to God. You can literally
download the Bible on the App Store. Just type in Bible, download,
and it comes up, and you can just start reading it. And I believe God will chat to you, you know. So, and also, there's this weird thing. Sorry, I'm going on a weird rant now.
Go ahead.
There's this weird thing that people decide, right? The only way that I could possibly come into a relationship with God is I'll wait a little while until I get my life sorted. Oh, I know. Don't worry, I'll get my life sorted first. I can't go to God with all my, because I was an addict. I can't go to God with my addiction. Goodness me. I need to sort my addiction out before I go to God. That is the most flawed thought process you can ever have. And if you wait to be perfect before going into a relationship with God, you will never go into a relationship with God, because there was only one perfect person who ever lived, which was God himself when he came down to earth. There's an expectation there, or a thing you're putting on yourself that you can never actually grasp or get to that level. So what you need to do is right now, go say, God, I'm sorry. I want to follow the plan you got for my life, and start that journey off today. That's how you do it. Sorry, it was a deep question, Jay. There was a deep response.
No, for sure. And that's why we do this. And if that's something that you're doing right now, if that's something that you're watching this video in 2 weeks, you're watching this video in 6 months' time, then make sure you go back to, Brightline's channel, Amongst Wolves channel, Soulbox, OTC's channel, and watch all of the Higher Life sessions, because we'd love to take you on that journey. And that but that brings us to the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. You've been great. Thanks to these guys who, Hey L Unicorn. Hey, please come back to Cardiff. Once this lockdown crazy stuff happens, then hopefully we're back to Cardiff. Maybe we'll do a higher tour. Maybe we'll do some sick gigs, right, guys?
Yeah, hopefully.
Would love that. We would love to do gigs again. Anyways, next week we're going to be talking about adventure, because that's what a relationship with God is. It is an adventure. It's not just one decision, God, be in my life, end of story. No. It's an adventure with God. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a relationship, right? You don't just, ask a girl out and then speak to her once, end of story. It's a relationship. You chat and you converse. And that's what today has been about. If you're just joining now, go back to the beginning of the video. We've got loads of great stuff to chat with you guys about. But until then, we will speak to you soon. Have a wonderful life. Peace.